Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome to my channel, Ask MT. For those who are joining me for the first time, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is MT Monak Tanvir. Call me Shog, Tanvir, whatever suits you best, no problem. I am a graduate from the Institute of Islamic Education many months ago. I am the first Islamic advisor for the Scottish Government and also for the Scottish Prison Service. I was the first advisor for Inverness Mosque, which is the most northern mosque in the UK. And I've had several businesses, and I'm the founder of Halal Sweet UK. The reason for this channel, this is a brief introduction I do. This is my third episode. But, I've got to cater for a lot of those who are joining me first time. They're probably wondering, excuse me, what's this guy doing with a pen? So, those who have seen my previous video, this noticed that the mic has been introduced, and I'm trying to avoid the buzzing sound as well. Again, everybody, we've got a lot to cover, and let's crack on because last week we covered a lot about mostly to do with mental health. The channel is based mostly on business and mental health, and I've made it clear, look, guys, I'm not an expert, but Alhamdulillah, with my experience, I have been connected with a lot of experts in business and also in mental health. As an advisor, I was a part of the health team, which dealt with a lot of spiritual care, especially from the spiritual side of things. From the Islamic perspective, I was advisor for the government. I've covered that in the previous channel, in previous episode as well. I just want to give a bit of a small recap. So, what tends to happen? I try to keep my videos within 6 to 7 minutes. I'm not one to carry on because if I carry on, I can talk for Scotland, you know, and we have to create the mood. And the aim and purpose is to give you snippets every week, inshallah. And this is for a broad audience, not all. It's not just for the Muslim community, but all the communities, because end of the day, mental health relates to everybody. And trust me, uh, I prep 6 7 minutes for this video. I can guarantee you each week I could cover 60 minutes, alhamdulillah. And I'm not just saying that. But what I want to make it simple. And when we make it simple, at least it's small steps, and that we're able to accommodate, hopefully. Last week we discussed a lot of in previous videos. I did get some comments about the due diligence, about okay market research, and I gave the example of the Pepsi can. I hope again if you could revert to the episode 1, I believe it was episode 2. In fact, you can have a look at that as well as to what the example was, RRP and everything. However, last week we discussed about, if you remember, my scenario with going in to fuel up, and the similar comment coming, living the dream. All and behold, check this out. I had the same scenario again, not in the same context, but some of my old previous customers, a local shop nearby, and I walked in, and they know me very well. They know I run a good business, and they've got other suppliers now, but we've got good rapport with them. And I'm a middle-aged lady, well presented, I know her very well, and she said the same thing to me again. When I say again, it wasn't her, but the context was the same. Living the dream. Excuse me. And sometimes you have the deja vu. You're like, is this really happening? By the way, is this really happening? And I said, and you're trying to be positive. I said, make sure you're winning up here. The same reply I gave it to the previous scenario when I was fueling up. And sadly, you know what she said. And I've got to be quite brave about this. She says, "Oh, I don't know about that." Wow, you need to take a long breath here because end of the day, for a person to say, "I don't know about that," you're flicking your own switch. Let me repeat that again. For a person to say, "I don't know about that," see, I put lights on, and there's a reason why my recording is a bit late today. Um, few personal circumstances. I've got elderly parents. Unfortunately, my father had to take unwell to hospital. I had to rush him to hospital yesterday. Alhamdulillah, it's all good, stable, but I really wanted to fit this in because it meant that I could at least have an episode for this week, because the next week comes again and again, alhamdulillah, very quickly, and it's all good, it's all good. So going back to what I'm saying is that I don't know about that. That's the reply of that lady, and that reply could be from anybody, irrespective of religion, color, creed, race, anything. That reply could come from anybody. But that was food for thought. The food for thought for me is that why would we want to use that reply? Why do we just want to flick out the switch up here, set the mind mindset, set the mind? Why not just set it to no, I'm a winner. I'm not gonna say I don't know about that. When we set that mindset, when we set the discipline, inshallah, Allah willing, this will be winning. Winning doesn't mean material. That's a bonus. You know, winning doesn't mean you know, branded clothing. That's a bonus from the Islamic perspective. You have it or not, but we've got to be winning it. We've got to be in gratitude, Alhamdulillah. And you know, uh, I come across a lot of people, and for example, I'll just give you a little scenario here. I'm trying to piece this together because I don't want to confuse everybody. So let me finish this one off first. I've got a habit of going on, guys. I've got a habit of going on. So please, if you could bear with me, I need to finish this scenario first. And that's a smile coming back in again. Good. So yeah, I don't know about this. In the Quran, Allah Ta'ala mentions, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم كما قال الله تعالى." Allah Ta'ala mentions in the Quran that indeed Allah does not change the condition of the people until they change what is within themselves. The interpretation of this is generic. It's not just for individuals, but بقوم يغير بقوم is to do with a nation. Until a nation changes, then Allah will change them as well, inshallah. However, my point being is that the change starts from us first. So when you got one person and 10 people are doing the same change, you've got a nation changing. Does that make sense, everybody? I'm trying to break it down. I'm not trying to make another interpretation, because interpretation is for all people. But in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala mentions about change. And if you remember in my last episode, I did mention about change, choice, and you've got the chance to do it. The time before, hereafter, eternal, it is a chance to change, a chance to change, and a choice everybody has. And I mentioned about, marful qalam. These are Arabic terms for a sane person. I've covered all that, but I'm just piecing everything together. Now, that is something that we can all work on. That's not a problem. And the first thing is, again, I'm a winner. Alhamdulillah, I'm a winner. Guys, it's coming to 9 minutes. I need to close up, and hopefully we will catch up with you next week. Be good. Allah Hafiz.